everybody, it's Josie here. I'm going to be doing another smash or trash video today. So this is for a brand new released book. I actually already did a review for this author that I've just posted up for one of her older books that I'd been dying to get to, and the author is Dianne Setterfield. The 13th Tale was the other book that I read, was one of her older books, and I absolutely loved it. So to say I had high hopes for this is an understatement, and the book I'm going to be talking about, keep you in suspense, is this one over here, Once Upon a River, Dianne Setterfield. And first of all, aesthetically, how gorgeous is that book? I don't know if the camera's picking up, so the green here is all metallic, and that's the back, and then when you open it up, this beautiful kind of firefly, oldie-worldy pattern on the inside. And I just think that this book is just beautiful, and it kind of feels nice, and it's lovely to hold, and it's a beautiful book. So kind of appearances out of the way. Like I said, I was really anticipating this because after loving the 13th Tale as much as I did, you know, when I heard that she had a brand new book coming out and I didn't even know that, I literally ran to the bookstore to get it. This one is set in England, and it's Once Upon a River. Now, the river plays what I really like this. The river is a character in the book, so it really plays a central theme in the book. And it is kind of that mix of it's a bit like the 13th Tale in that regard, that it's a little bit of a mix of a thriller, a mystery, kind of a human drama. It plays on your emotions, it makes you think. It also has almost that slight, I would say, magical realism angle. So the synopsis of the book is that you have this pub, and it's called the Swan, that's in a little town along the River Thames. And one night you've got the landlord and some of the villagers, and they're sitting there, they're having a drink in the pub, and all of a sudden the door bursts open and a man staggers in. And he's been beaten up, he looks like he's been beaten up, his face is all kind of caved in, he looks terrible, and he kind of staggers in, and he's about to pass out, and they catch him, and out of his hands fall what they think is like a dummy or a doll, and the youngest son of the innkeeper kind of catches this dummy and sits down with it, and then he's sort of looking at it, and he realizes that in fact it's not a dummy, but a girl, a young girl. And they then, once they've tended to the man and kind of called in the local nurse to look after him, he sort of raises his hand and says, oh, this is, by the way, this is a little girl. And they rush over and they look at her and they declare her dead. She's not breathing, she has no pulse. It's very sad, this girl is dead. So they take her and they put her in another room. The nurse comes, she looks at this man, she's fixing him up. And then they say to her, oh, and by the way, he came in and he was holding this girl. And she goes and she has a look, and she, just something about it makes her want to go and see this girl. And they're like, no, she's dead anyway, you can't do anything for her. And she's like, no, I'm gonna go have a look. And she goes and she has a look, and while she's sort of cradling this child, the child wakes up. And she essentially comes back to life. And I'm not giving anything away because that is what happens in the first sort of chapter of this book. And you then so you're left with this mystery, is like, was this girl dead? Wasn't she? And then you've got the mystery of who is he and who is this girl? As first they think she is his daughter, naturally, because, you know, he came in carrying her. But then is she? Who does she belong to? How did they get there? And that's really what kind of the meat of the story is about. And you meet all these characters in the beginning. And what I really loved is this kind of once upon a time theme as well, about sort of the telling of stories. So the owners of the Swan, they're the father, the man that owns the pub, he has always been renowned all his life for telling stories, and he starts them all with Once Upon a Time, and then people flock there and they love hearing the way he tells stories. So this whole book is told almost a bit like a fairy tale as well, which I loved. The first sort of few chapters, and I think this is divided into kind of sections as well. Sort of the first section of the book, you also get you get introduced to quite a few characters, and then it always ends with that they knew something was about to happen. And it's really interesting when and then the whole mystery kicks off with the girl and where she comes from. And again, you do have quite a few characters, but they all kind of come together. It makes perfect sense how they're all interweave and intermingle and come together in the end. I thought the ending was lovely. I really liked it. I loved kind of guessing and you know, who is this girl, where does she come from, who are these people, how do they fit together. That was really cool. Also that kind of there's a real discussion again around women and women's place. So the nurse in this book that comes and treats the guy that kind of stumbled in and treats the girl initially, the one where she wakes up, where the girl wakes up. This nurse is unmarried at the time. That is quite a scandal. She's an old spinster, in other words, probably about, you know, 28 or 30, and she's, you know, declared old. And but her kind of her thoughts on children and on life and being a woman, I think that's really interesting as well. I just loved all the characters. I thought they were well written. They kind of make you think. There is an element, so a trigger warning, there is an element of abuse and rape. It's not graphic at all, but you do know that that's kind of something that happened within the story, so there's a trigger warning there. But it is gorgeously written. Dianne Setterfield is a wonderful author. It is intriguing, it is interesting, it is a beautiful book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and like I said, when you go into something with really high hopes, sometimes you're really disappointed, and or kind of even mildly disappointed, and with this I wasn't at all. It wasn't the same as the 13th Tale, but it had a lot of those elements that I loved, kind of the mystery elements, the characterization. So all of those bits that I really liked about the 13th Tale as well were in here. I give it 5 stars. I can't really knock it in any sense of the word. I enjoyed myself. I read it really quickly. It's a fairly long book, and I got through it in a couple of days because I wanted to know what happens, and I wanted to figure out how all these characters mixed. There might be, I think that's one thing people might maybe not like, because there's quite a few, you get introduced to quite a few characters in the beginning, but I promise you, it all comes together at the end, and it makes total sense how they all fit. So I enjoyed it. I loved it. Absolute 5-star for this as well. I am definitely going to read Dianne Setterfield's other book now. I think it's called Bellman and Black or something along those lines. She has 3 out at the moment. So after loving these 2, I hope the other one's going to be good as well. So I very much recommend this. Yeah, go out and get it. Love it. Love Dianne Setterfield. And yeah, fantastic smash hit book. I will speak to you guys all again soon. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.